Hello friends, this is Ganesh and hope you're doing great. In this video, I'm going to explain a concept called remote enable function module. For better understanding, so we see a scenario in our client side. So if you take any business, any of your customer, they are having multiple systems. They are maintaining data in different systems, not all the data. Okay, they are maintaining their own data in multiple systems, and some scenario they have to transfer the data from one system to another system. For example, we have system A and system B. System B has to perform a finance transaction. To do that, they need a data from system A, maybe particular scenario, system A. So they have to get this data from system A and perform or complete the transaction in system B. So to do that, they have different options to get the data. Either they can get the data lively, or they can get the data before the transaction starts. Maybe the job, bad job, through background job. So get the data and keep it ready, and then start the transaction in system B. So these are few different options to get the data from one system to another system. So the basic idea is there is a need of sharing the information between the internal systems of your customer. Okay, so to perform this or to help for this process, we have a medium called remote enable function module. So this is one of the object which supports the data transfer between one system to another system. So little deeper, from SAP to non-SAP or from SAP to another SAP system. Okay, so that doesn't matter. The request coming from SAP or non-SAP, whatever it is, depends on the request. We have to send the detail, relevant detail to the particular system. For that, we are going to use a concept called remote enable function module. Okay, so before getting to this object, we have to perform or we have to enable a communication. So that is very important, right? So first you have to create a communication between system A to system B. Then you can using an object called remote enable function module to transfer the data. So that is step number 2. So there are 2 steps are involved. One is create a connection between system A and system B, and then just make use of the object remote enable function module to transfer the data. Very simple. Okay, so we are getting to this slide first. We'll try to understand how we can perform this particular remote enable function module, and I can show you in an example by using two different SAP systems for this particular data transfer. Okay, let's get into the system. Sorry, slides first. So the basic idea is like this. SAP is going to be send the data to outside of your SAP network. Okay, it could be an SAP or non-SAP, and it's a two-way communication. So sometimes we have to receive a request, probably purchase order number. Okay, or maybe in another transaction, I can say you can receive data which creates a purchase order in SAP. So receive all the relevant details from non-SAP system, receive it, create a purchase order in SAP, send the purchase order number to your non-SAP system. Okay, so this is a very simple scenario. So it could be SAP to SAP or non-SAP to SAP, whatever it is. Okay, so there is an option to send the informations outside of your SAP network. In our example, in today's session example, okay, before that, could be so once the connection is ready, either you can do a data exchange, just exchange the data, or the scenario which I explained, receive the data, do some transaction, and send back the created informations to the requested system. So that way also you can do. Once the communication is enabled, you can do whatever you want. And it's not only for data exchange. So this is our scenario which we are going to perform today's session is one SAP to another SAP system with the help of remote enable function module. So the first step, we create a connection between two systems. So that is a very beginning step. So that is called RFC connections, remote function call. So you have to create a connection between system A and system B. So here SAP system 1 and SAP system 2. Okay, along with a few details. Once that is done, then you can able to use a remote enable function module to transfer the data. So the transaction to create a connection is SM59. Okay, and what else need to create a connection is very simple. So system. So here I can say SAP1 to SAP2. I'm going to create a connection from SAP 1 to SAP 2. Okay. So for that, I need a system details. I need the SAP 2 system details. I'm going to create an RFC in SAP 1. So what is your application server name or IP number and then instance number. So these are the very basic information that is required. And then login credentials. What is your username and password? So here you have to know about some common users. So mostly if any communication is happening outside of your network, the basis or security prefers to go with a common user name and password. So not every user ID has to create a connection, and it's coming from outside of SAP or non-SAP or SAP to come and get the data from your SAP system. So probably they will go with the common login credentials, common user and password. And then authorization is also very important, because if they go with every user, they have to provide authorization for this kind of process. Instead, if they go with a common user, probably they will go with same kind of authorization for one particular user that is going to be used in same process for many times. Okay, so that is the basic idea. So just try to understand about the common user if you get a time on your system. And so connection text with remote logon. So meaning once you give all the information, you have to do a connection test. So it should be green, or it's not actually green. It should not be red, I can say. So red, or sometimes it shows an ash color saying everything is success. This is seconds it took time to reach the system. Okay. If not, you will get a error message. I will show you that for both screens as well. Okay, and you can perform a remote logon. So remote logon is nothing but if you just click a remote logon, automatically the system B initial SAP EC access page is opens here. Okay, in our scenario. So our scenario is between SAP to another SAP system. So RFC. So once the RFC is ready, so once this RFC is ready, I'm going to create a remote enable function module. So what are not possible, because function module, we know about function module. So if you change RFC, is there any restrictions? So you are able to import, you are able to export, you have tables changing, and exceptions. Everything is same like function module. One basic change between normal function module and RFC function remote enable function module is pass by values. So in normal function module, you are able to perform or able to pass the information through pass by value or pass by reference, call by value, call by reference. But if it is a remote enable function module, every data medium, or every declared variable in export is by default is pass by value, import, tables changing, everything is you have to mention as a pass by value, otherwise you will get a syntax error. Okay, so other than that, everything is same like function module. There is a option button, we have to change from normal function module to remote enable function module. Other than that, functionality, writing the code, tabs, everything is same. So the next is syntax, how to call a function module, like a remote enable function module. The same syntax, only one keyword is an addition, is nothing but destination, because this function module is not available in your system. So the clear example is system A and system B. System B, I have my remote enable function module. I need to call the remote enable function module from system A. So if you open a pattern in system A, give the function module name and press continue, it shows this function module doesn't exist in system A, obviously, because it's created in system B. So how to call that one? If the function module has very limited parameters, you can do it manually, type it manually, call function name, destination name, and then parameters. So what is export, what is import, you have any exceptions, tables, whatever, you can type it. Otherwise, simplest way is go to system B, create a dummy program, call the function module, because that is available in system B. So that will call the function module through pattern. So that will give all the export, import, parameter, exception, everything. So then copy and paste it in system A. So this is the easiest way to do that. Okay. So the syntax, the addition is destination, and RFC destination means nothing but whatever we have created in SM59, that is the name we have to give here. And RFC destination is always dynamic, because depends on your system, the RFC name, connection names it's getting differ. Normally the people who creates, or the basis security, or even the developer, we have to create based on the system ID as a reference. So development system ID, quality and production system is all differs between two systems. I'm saying two system IDs are differs. So obviously the connection name SM15 and connection names also differs. So the destination is always dynamic. Don't hard code it. If you hard code it, it will work for your development, not for quality and production systems. Okay. So very clear that destination should be a dynamic. Maybe you can either pass the value through a TV or a TVA or as a variable. You can keep the dynamic values, and manually you have to maintain. It's a one-time activity, so manually you have to maintain in development, quality and production, then it will work. Or you can keep it in the some tables, you can maintain it. So we have a lot of ways to do that. Okay, so the idea would be RFC destination name is always dynamic. Okay, so keep a variable and keep on filling the variable, and then parameters depends on whatever you have parameters in your function module, that will listed over here as well. So this is the syntax to call a remote enable function module from your source system. So the next one is RFC ping. This is a function module to check whether your target system is alive or available. Okay, make sure it's working fine. It's reachable, I can say. Okay, so because as you're going to work with RFC, the error handling should be very clear, because you're going to handle two different systems, and if the failure happens in system A or system B, that needs to be communicated properly to the end users or the business people. Sometimes what happens, maybe in the middle of the transaction, we have to communicate, we have to grab the data from a different system, and that time if the system fails, sometimes business says, even if it fails, no worries, don't stop my transaction. So example is, I'm creating a purchase order from system A. I need some data from system B. So through RFC, I'm going to get the information from system B and complete my purchase order in system A. Sometimes system B is down, some issues are happening, I'm not getting a data. Business is fine. Please don't stop the PO creation. Let the PO create. I can change, even if it is not happening. Either I can change whether the system is up, or manually I can change my purchase order. Purchase order information. So the idea is, don't stop my transaction. In that case, because they don't want to stop the transaction, but they should know what happens if any failure is happening, the system is not reachable. They have to know through some other source. So probably they prefer an email. So send an email, detailed email, what happens. So when it happens, which system is not reachable. So at the time of which PO creation this happens. So I want a detailed email to list out the people. So in that case, what you have to do, you have to make sure whether it's reachable or not. If it is not reachable, you have to send a message to the concerned people. So the error handling should be very clear, whether the issue is in system A or system B, whatever it is. Okay. So normally the preferable option is, before calling a function module, remote enable function module, make sure that particular RFC connection is available or enabled, reachable. For that, what you can do is, you have a function module called RFC underscore ping is a function module. So from system A, I'm going to ping system B. So I'm going to check whether the system is reachable. Yes, reachable. Then further, I'm going to call the function. If it is not reachable, I'm going to handle error handling, depends on my business need. Okay. So for that, we are going to use a function module called RFC underscore ping. What else? Okay, few things to be considerable from my perspective. So maybe it can be added once you start working on it. What if the system is not reachable? So we have to check with the business. So if it does not happen, whether I need to stop the transaction or how to handle the error handling part. Okay, and exception handling in both systems. So whatever failures happens in which system, so we have to handle it. We have to give a proper message to the relevant people about the failure. And then dynamic RFC connection name, as I mentioned, your RFC connection name is always dynamic. Don't hard code your destination name. And probably once you start with RFC remote enable function module, and how to search only RFCs. So I don't want normal function module. Suppose I'm searching something, it could be a Z, right? Or standard RFC function models I want to search. So what I have to do is go to F4 in your SE37, F4, and there is a plus symbol. So in the search help window, just click it. It will give an option to select only RFC function model. So maybe I can give here Z star and RFC model. So that listed only the remote enable function model for me, not all the function models. Okay. So this is just a point for you. And then, yeah. That's it. So now you have a clear idea. So now I have two systems. One is ECC and another one is S4HANA. I have two different, I just changed the color of ECC. I believe it's a green, and another one is HANA is blue. I'm going to create the function module in HANA system, and I'm going to call that function module from ECC. So that is the scenario. As this is I'm going to explain the RFC connection SM59 and create a function module. So I'm not going to include much logic or parameters. So very simple. I'm going to give I believe it's a P1 number, and I'm going to get the details from S4 HANA system. Okay. So let's see. I'm going to include the exception as well. So let's see how it works. Let's get into the system now. So this is my ECC in green and S4 HANA in blue. Okay, so my function model I'm going to create in S4 HANA, and that is going to be called from my ECC system. So first step, I'm going to create a connection between ECC and S4 HANA. So I'm going to create a RFC connection from ECC system. So ECC is in green. So go to SM59. So few screens probably the IP address probably I'm not going to show you those things, and that I'm going to disable the entire steps. ABAP connections, I'm going to create ABAP connections and keep the cursor created. So ABAP connection is actually 3. So connection type is 3, something but ABAP connections. So now I'm going to connect RFC S4. Just a name. Okay. So S4 connection description. So here I'm going to give my target host. So this part I'm going to exclude from the recording, and the information you may get in some transactions. Otherwise, very simplest way is right click in your logon pad, right click the system name, go to properties. You might get what is the application server, and then system number is nothing but that instance number or system number. It's available in your logon pad itself. Okay, so let me add here, then I'm going to log on and security. Clear? Yeah, I have added the log IP address and an instance number or system number, and then now I'm going to just come to log on and security. So here mostly in real time, mostly the people prefer to use a common user. Not every user has this option because the connection is only one. Many users they want to use the same connection, so probably they go with the common users, but here I go with my own ID. So it's English and client is 800. Here the connection I'm creating to S4 HANA. Yeah, this one, and then password. Okay. Okay, so I have done and then saved it. Then I have to just click the connection test. It should not be red. Okay. So let's see, it's trying to connect the system. Yes, it's success. And go back. One more thing, if you want, you can just give remote logon. It should open your target system in a different window or different session. But this is not, it's not happening in this renter. I'm not sure why, but the connection is fine. So please ignore it, but it should happen in your normal system, remote logon. Okay, don't worry about it. So the step 1 is done. I have created the connection. The handshake is ready now between ECC to S4 HANA system. Okay, so now what I'm going to do was go to S4 HANA system, create a remote enable function module, very simplest function module with some parameters and exceptions, and then the final step is again come back to ECC and call the function module from a program. Okay, so that is the idea of this simple scenario. So let me go to, okay, 37. So make sure you have a function group. These are very common because the function module is nothing different. Only the option I'm going to change from normal function module to remote enable function module. Okay. So CGI PO create. I think I have something over here. CGI. Yep, I have group. Okay. And this is PO details. Okay. So you can just add whatever information is required based on your requirement. And the step, there is a change over here as remote enable function module. So once you create a remote, all the parameters should be passed by value. You can't do a reference in remote enable function module. Okay. So here I'm going to receive. Okay, I think I'll go with sales. Sales order. Type EBELN. Oh, sorry. It should be VBELN, and here it always comes every parameter. It's keep on checking your design, and says only parameters with pass by value are allowed in RFC modules. So you have to select this. Okay. And probably I may go with types, means tables. I'm going to return back to the system whoever is calling this particular remote enable function module. So it could be IT sales and type. I have already created I think no. Okay, I created one table type. Let me quickly check. Okay, so that is actually ZGITT sales, and it has these many fields. So let me use the same here, and uh, where is mine? Here, CGITT underscore sales. Okay, done. I'm going to receive the sales order number from my source system, and once I receive, I'm going to fill the details. These fields, I'm going to fill it using this parameter. Okay, so this is a tables by default. Tables and exporting parameters are passed by value only, so you don't worry about it. Optional depends on your need. If you want, you can make this as an optional. And I'm going to create an exception. Invalid order. Invalid order. Okay, so if order doesn't exist. Okay, so now go to the source code. Source code is pretty simple. Get the details from VBAK and VBAP, then fill it to the internal table which I declared in tables tab, and we are good. Activate it and call this remote enable function model from your ECC and see how it works. Okay. Meantime, so let me copy this fields, because these are the fields which I have to do it in my select. Why it's taking some time? Let's wait for some time. So here, okay, I want these fields, right? Select Babylon, it's from maybe AK and maybe type UART, net value, POs and R, and finally MUTNR. Okay. From VBAK and a join VBAP on VBAK Babylon. I'm not using lines over here. VBAP Babylon into table. What is the name in tables tab is IT sales, where VBAK Babylon equals it is an import parameter IM sales. Okay, so if says bar c is not equal to 0, I'm going to raise an exception, invalid order. Okay, pretty printer. So almost we are done. Check it. There is an error, and it's okay. So NETWR is available in both the tables. So let me have the name of the table. Activate. Okay, no errors and activated. So we are good enough in my target system. It's like, yeah, S4 HANA system remote enable function module is ready. So to test it, probably you can just check any of your function. I think 983 is the sales. Let me check it quickly. It should be available in both the tables, right? VBAK and VBAP. So 963 or 983. Okay, so 963 is available in AK and AP table. So the same sales order as I'm going to use in my testing. Okay, 963. So as I mentioned, if you want to call, this is very pretty simple function modules with very less parameters. So you can manually do it or create a dummy program and call it, copy paste the things from your AC system or from your source system. So CGI dummy creates dummy executable object, excuse me, and here I'm going to call control F6 and my CGI, I forgot, okay, JI underscore PO underscore PO. Okay, so this is the easiest way, right? So copy this, now go to your source system, my ACC is in green. So here I need to create a program to call the function module. CGI RFC call, RFC function module call, RFC function module call, executable program. So these are very common steps you have, and even you can try calling the RFC function module in ECC, and it shows this function module doesn't exist. Sometimes maybe the similar name might create it. If not, you will get an error. Okay, I'll show that as well. So if you go to control F6 and CJI underscore PO, so function is not available because this is not available in the source system. So copy paste it over here, and probably I may go with parameters p underscore sales type equivalent. So I'm going to give that one p underscore sales. Okay, I need to create internal table. Probably this is not available here, that's one. So begin of structure sales, and I need these fields over here. Yeah, these are the fields which I have to declare. Where it is, oh, not this one, and green over here. Yeah, yeah. So Veblen type VBELN, VB type VBTYP, AUART, and this one type NETWR underscore AK, I believe, and this one type was an R, and finally MATNR is type MATNR. End of structure, and excuse me, I need details in the body of internal table, type table of STU sales. Almost done. And here I'm going to give IT sales, and if an exception happens, so we have to handle it. So like size of barcy equals 1, I'm giving a message saying that invalid sales order, so type as error. Okay, so we are done, and we are in ECC. We have called the remote enable function module. Let's check it out. Main part is missing, destination. Okay, so that is missing. So destination, and this is a hard, this should not be a hard coded value, but now I'm not going to maintain TVRs and everything over here. So let me copy and paste it. So this is the one. Okay, so always maintain the destination name either in a TVRVG or in a table level. So dynamically it should populate, simple. Or sometimes we can give an option to determine as well. Okay, so the destination, this is the RFC name what I created in SM59. So we are good and act toward it. So once it is done, I will show you with RFC ping also. So 983. Okay, execute. So this is reaching ABAP debugger. So debugger breakpoint is after my error message. So there is a order. It reaches my system and get the information as well. So let me check. IT details, yes. So it has a value. I am an EC system. This is green. So these are the values. It's available. It's fetched or pulled from S4 HANA system. Okay. So now if I give a different number, I'm not sure that it's available. Let's see. Execute. So the exception happens. Invalid sales order because this sales order doesn't exist. Okay. So now what I have to do is I want to check the function module RFC ping. Before call any remote enabled function module, make sure the system is reachable. So I'm going to use the function called RFC ping and execute it. Give the RFC name or RFC target name. My RFC target name is RFC underscore S4. Okay, let me check. RFC underscore S4 execute. So there is no error. So there is no success message, but there is no exception also happened, meaning yes, it's reachable. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change something in my RFC connection, probably changing my instance number. I'm going to provide a wrong information, and if it is wrong information, obviously connection fails. Let's see how RFC ping respond if there is an error. Okay, so I'm going to just ignore showing the system number. So just wait a minute. Okay, I changed the instance number. Let me check connection test. It gives an error. So I'm sorry, I'm not able to show you the details, system details. That's why I open a notepad. Just ignore that information. So this is the error message I'm getting while executing the connection test. So now I'm going to execute the RFC function model, RFC ping. Let's see how it behaves. So this is RFC ping function module. Let's go and execute. So one second. Yeah, I saved it. Let's go out. Ping RFC underscore S4 execute. It gives a communication failure exception saying the system is not reachable. So if that is the case, you have to handle the exceptions. Error handling in your program depends on the business need. So it could be a message to the transaction immediately, or it could be an email to send it to the relevant people saying that the system is not reachable. So how you handle, it's up to your own requirement. So this is the way which we are going to use the RFC ping function module. Okay, so quickly I will have that my system over here. So little interesting part here is control F6 RFC ping. So it won't give the message here like parameters, I can say. It is that way it works. So how you can do is give destination, and your destination is RFC. Normally it's a dynamic one. Okay, and then exceptions. Control spacebar. So like that, you have to enable the exceptions. So you can say number 1, and if it is a system failure, is number 2, and if it is others, is 3, and handle it however you want. Okay. So if size of RC is equal to 0, then proceed to call the remote enable function module. Else, then have whatever exceptions how you want to handle, have it here. Okay, so this is a way to make sure the system is reachable, and then yes, call the remote enable function module. Okay, so hope this might be useful for you to just check how to create a RFC connection between to SAP systems, and how to call a function module, remote enable function module, with the parameters, with the tables and exceptions from your source system. So just try this, and if you have any doubt, please let me know. Thank you so much for your time, and see you in the next video. Bye.